Imagine dialing a number, and a phone rings in the middle of the Mojave Desert. No houses, no town, just sand, heat, and a glass box sitting by a dirt road. This story is about that phone booth, how it became an early internet legend, why people around the world called it, and why it was eventually taken down. Back in the 1960s, a phone company installed a booth out here for practical reasons. Miners needed a way to call out. Travelers sometimes broke down. It wasn't meant to be special. It was just a tool in the wrong place to look normal. Decades passed. The mine slowed. Maps changed. The desert didn't. The booth stayed. The glass got cloudy. Bugs collected in the corners. The handset hung there, heavy and quiet. Then, in the late 90s, someone stumbled on the phone number in a small write-up and posted it online. A random curiosity. There's a working phone in the middle of nowhere. Try calling it. People did. Students in dorms, night shift workers on break, truckers waiting out a storm, a guy in a studio apartment overseas who wanted to hear what America sounded like at 3 a.m. They dialed the digits. Sometimes the desert answered. Hello? Yeah, you've reached the phone booth in the Mojave. Word spread. Friends told friends. Forums shared the number. Soon the booth rang at all hours. Some callers just said hi. Some asked what the weather felt like. Some let the wind fill the silence and called that a conversation. And then people began to show up in person. They followed vague directions, bounced along dirt tracks, and looked for a flash of glass in the sun. They took turns answering the next call. They taped notes to the walls, little messages for whoever picked up after them. If you were there, you could hold the receiver and be the voice of the desert for a stranger on the other end. It was simple, it was weird, and it was strangely moving. A phone booth that shouldn't be there, connecting two people who otherwise would never meet. But the attention brought traffic. Tire marks spread like branches around the booth. Rangers started to worry about the protected land. You can love a place and still hurt it by accident. One morning, a truck came with straps and a plan. By afternoon, the booth was gone. The number went quiet. The road was empty again. The desert took a breath and smoothed over the square where the concrete base had been. People kept visiting for a while. They stood at the bare spot. They looked around like something might still be there if they listened hard enough. Some said, on a windy day, you could imagine the bell ringing once. Just one polite little chime that didn't belong out here anymore. So, why did this tiny thing grab so many people? Because it turned nowhere into somewhere, and someone into anyone. You didn't need an invitation. You didn't need to be important. You just needed a phone and a minute. It wasn't about the desert or the equipment. It was about the moment two strangers shared a line and realized that was enough. If you strip away the novelty, here's what's left. People like to connect in small, surprising ways. A payphone in the middle of a national preserve made that connection feel magical because it asked for almost nothing and gave you a real voice on the other end. Imagine you call a number and expect a recording. Instead, you hear wind and a human hello. For a few minutes, the world shrinks to the length of a cord. Then you hang up, and the world goes back to being big. That's the whole story. A practical booth became a legend. The legend got too heavy for the place that held it. The booth was removed. But the feeling stuck, because the feeling was never made of metal or glass.